Hi there. My name is Mrs. Robinson, and I'm a teacher at Phelan Leadership Academies. And today I am super excited because I get to teach a lesson to kindergarten. Are you ready? Let's find out what we're going to do today. So today I'm going to put on this piece of paper what it is I want you to be able to do. Are you ready? Let me pick out my favorite crown, which is a rainbow crown, and we're going to write and read this together. I can retell details from a story. Make sure I put my period at the end of my sentence. I capitalize the beginning of my sentence too. That's where I make my uppercase I. Let's take a look at this sentence. Can we say it together? Ready? I can retell details from a story. So if we think about what is this exactly asking us to do? Have you ever heard a story before or had somebody else tell you a story and then you told somebody else the story and you had to remember the most important details to tell the other person what happened? And you had to tell it in order, how it started, what happened in the middle, and then how it ended. That's what we're going to work on today. We're going to do this by reading one of my favorite stories. Are you ready to see what the story is? The story is called I Don't Want to Be a Frog. And so you can see there's a frog screaming in the middle of the page. But if you take a look down at the very bottom, you're going to see that it says, written by Dev Petty. Written by means he's the author. He's the person who wrote the story. Look next to that. It'll say illustrated by Mike Bolt. What does illustrated mean? Take a second and think about what illustrated means. If you said that means he drew the pictures, you are correct. So Mike drew the pictures and Dev wrote the story. Let's read the story. Remember, think about those big important details through the story that helps us be able to retell what happened. I want to be a cat. You can't be a cat. Take a look at these characters. Notice the little frog is reading a cat book, and the big frog with the glasses on is saying he can't be a cat. Why not? Because you're a frog. I don't like being a frog. It's too wet. Well, you can't be a cat. So what do we know so far? We know that there's a little frog. He doesn't want to be a frog anymore, and he doesn't like that he's always wet. I want to be a rabbit. You can't be a rabbit. Why not? Look, I can hop. Sure, but where are your long ears? Besides, what's wrong with being a frog? I don't like being a frog. It's too slimy. That may be, but you can't be a rabbit. So he's given him 2 reasons why he doesn't like to be a frog. Do you remember the 2 reasons? What was the first reason? It's too wet. And what was the second reason? It's too slimy. That's right. I want to be a pig. You can't be a pig. Why not? Most of all, because you're a frog, but also because you don't have a curly tail or eat garbage. I can eat garbage. Everyone says that until they eat garbage. Sorry, you can't be a pig. I want to be an owl. Of course you want to be an owl. Being an owl is the greatest thing ever. Boy, would you love being an owl. So, can I be an owl then? What do you think he's going to say? No, of course not. Why not? First, you don't have wings. Second, you don't look wise. Third, you can't turn your head all the way around. And fourth, let's say it together, ready? You are a frog. What's wrong with being a frog anyway? Too much bug eating. So now he has 3 reasons: wet, slimy, and too much bug eating. I see. But still, no being an owl for you. We have a new character. Look at this new character. We can't see the full character, but we can start to make inferences based on his paws, his nose. He looks kind of scary. Why so glum? I don't want to be a frog. What do you want to be then? Not a frog. I want to be a cat or a rabbit or a pig or an owl. Something cute and warm. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Oh, look at those teeth. This animal looks a little scary. I love eating cats. I love eating rabbits and pigs and owls too. And I'm pretty hungry. I might just gobble some up right now. That's terrible. It's who I am. But guess the one thing I never eat. What do you think he doesn't eat? He loves to eat cats, rabbits, pigs, and owls. What do you think the one thing the wolf doesn't eat? Badgers? No, I eat badgers. Lots of badgers. Frogs? Bingo. Why don't you eat frogs? Because they're too wet, too slimy, and full of bugs. Oh, so it's good to be a frog? Yep, I guess you can't fight nature. We are what we are. You are a fierce hunter. And you are a wet, slimy, bug-eating, very lucky frog. You should just be happy you're not a fly. What's wrong with being a fly? And that's the end of the story. So when you start to think about what happened in this story, you start to break the story down into 3 sections. What happened at the beginning of the story, what happened at the middle of the story, and what happened at the end of the story. We're going to take a look at a graphic organizer that you're going to fill out in your notebook. So you're going to take the notebook that you have and you're going to put lesson 1 and then you're going to put today's date. So let me give you a minute and you can go ahead and start to fill out your notebook. While you're filling out your notebook, I'm going to go ahead and grab a crayon so that we can start to fill in this graphic organizer from the story we just read. I'm going to go ahead and put my name up at the top. Mrs. Robinson. And then I'm going to put the title of the book in the next section. Do you remember the title of the book? The title of the book was I Don't Want to Be a, do you remember the last word? Frog. Oops. I don't want to be a frog. So that was the name of the story. We're going to start this together, start to fill out the graphic organizer, and then I want you to hold off on filling out your journal until after we get done. Are you ready? Let's work on this together. Let's take a look back at the beginning of the story. At the very beginning, this was where it all started. The frog was sitting on the ground with his cat book, and he said he wants to be a cat. And then if you remember, they said, no, you can't because you're a frog. And he said he didn't like being a frog. And he said it's because it's too wet. So if we take a look at our graphic organizer and we had to say, what happened at the very beginning? Let's think about what happened at the very, very beginning. We would say the frog wants or wanted to be a cat because he is too wet. He doesn't like to be wet. Now let's take a look at what happened in the middle of the book. In the middle of the book, he thinks about being a rabbit, and he was told no because he doesn't have the right ears. He thinks about being a pig, and he was told no because he doesn't eat garbage or have a curly tail. And then he thought about being an owl. Let's go back to our graphic organizer, and he said in the middle, he thought about being do you remember what he wanted to be after the cat? Rabbit, pig, or an owl. So those were some of the things he thought about being in the middle of the book. Let's go back and use our picture clues and our words to help us see the ending of the book. All of a sudden, a new character came into the story, and this character helped him realize he decided it was okay to be a frog because frogs would not get eaten by wolves. Let's take a look at our graphic organizer again. The frog was happy being a frog. He liked being a frog by the end of the story. He felt like it was safer to be a frog than to be a rabbit, a pig, an owl, or a cat. What I want you to do is to take your notebook and I want you to come up with your details. You can do one of two things. You can go back and do the same story that I just read to you, or you can choose another story that you have read or you would like to read again. And you can turn it even sideways, just like this picture, and make 3 boxes, draw your lines, and put beginning, middle, and end, and then go ahead and write out what are those details in the story that you're going to talk about. So go ahead and do this in your journal, and I'm going to let you take on that task, and I just want to end with thanking you for taking your time today to take part in my lesson. I hope you enjoyed drawing out the key details. Let's review one last time what it is that you're supposed to remember how to do. You can retell details from a story. Thanks a lot. I hope you have a great day.